Welcome to the Really Useful Podcast. I'm Christian Cawley, and with me is Ben Stegner. Hi, Ben.
I'm back. How are you?
Yeah, good to see you. Good to
Good
see
to
you.
see you too.
We are here to bring you some news from the tech world that will be relevant to you, as opposed to, we're not going to be discussing the price of memory chips in manufacturing plants. We are going to be talking to you about Netflix apps no longer working. We are going to be telling you about the Amazon Fire TV recast cloud-based DVR box. We're going to talk about Xbox One keyboard and mouse support and why. We're also going to be giving you some tips about Microsoft Office, about scams to keep an eye out for, because it's Black Friday, Cyber Monday weekend. And we're going to, just in case you don't know, because a lot of our listeners we understand, and that's fine because that's who we're aiming at, are not particularly up with tech. We're going to have a look at what memes are. Because you may not know, the origins of the phrase either, and what the where the idea of a meme comes from. So I'm thinking to myself, I've just actually explained it in using the word idea of a meme. But anyway, we'll have more about that later on. But yeah, let's just get on there. You're here presumably, listener, because you want to know a bit more about technology and the tech that you're using, the phones, the tablets, the mouse, the TV, and you're maybe not getting as much from it as you want to. We're here to help you break that down, help you to give you the tips that help you use stuff without you having to know too much about it, just so you can push on, be productive, and not let things kind of drag you down with jargon and stuff that you don't need to know. We're going to kick off with the news, Ben.
News about the Wii.
The news about the Nintendo Wii. Do you know we bought a Nintendo Wii some years ago after after they were big. It was about 2012 to 2013, and then a few weeks later, my sister bought us one for Christmas.
Oh,
So we had two Nintendo Wii's, and it was like a second-hand unit. The one I bought was about 80 quid or something like that. So then my sister bought one, so we had two. And a funny thing happened. A few weeks ago, we decided we were going to get rid of the Wii U because we're on Xbox One, and my cousin gave us her old Wii. So we've
so
now
now
got
you have
three
three Wii's.
Wii's and a Wii U. It's insane.
It's too bad you can't like hook them up together and make like a supercomputer or something.
Super Wii, yeah. So anyway, a lot of people have been using the Nintendo Wii. Still using the Nintendo Wii, but using it for other purposes. We've discussed on makeuseof.com, where Ben and I both write, that there's different ways you can still get a bit of fun out of the Wii. You can install the Homebrew app to play old games and things like that. And there's apps available for the Wii through the store. One of them is Netflix. One of them's Amazon Instant Video. And it turns out that Netflix is being retired.
Yeah, it isn't. It's not a surprise to me. I mean, the Wii launched in '06, so that
Yeah,
was over 10 years ago. So it was kind of a big thing that first console generation with the Wii and the PS3 and the Xbox 360. That was the first console generation to have like apps like outside
yes,
of just you turn the system on and the game starts. So it's actually if the Wii has kind of been whittling off some of that stuff. A lot of the old channels Nintendo had, like the Forecast channel. They had a news channel. They had a couple other channels where you could like submit Mii's that you created, and there was like a
sure, yeah.
channel where you could vote on topics. That stuff's all been phased out for several years. So Nintendo's also retiring the Wii Shop channel, which is
Yeah.
the store where you can buy old games and independent games and stuff like that. So it's not a surprise, but it seems like after this happens, you won't be able to buy anything on the shop and no more streaming video. So it'll pretty much just be good for playing Wii and GameCube games after that. So it's kind of sad, but
It
I
is
understand why
sad.
they're doing it.
I do wonder whether these systems, as we become more reliant on the cloud with our hardware, and to what um, degree, as servers are switched off, as new hardware comes along, how hardware that we're using now, we're still going to be using it in like the Wii's launched in 2006, it was 12 years old. Are we still going to be using an Xbox One or a PlayStation 4 that far down the line, or are they going to be hamstrung by having no access to a server? Is that going to like essentially brick them?
Yeah, I do wonder that. There's kind of I guess a conversation or a discussion about a lot of like game preservation.
Hmm.
Not something that I'm like all in on, but I've kind of read about it. Like there are
Sure.
certain games that have just disappeared, basically because like they were digital only games, and then they were like a movie tie-in or whatever, and then they lost the rights to the movie, and
Yeah.
so they had to pull the game, and so the game's just gone. So it's that whole thing is interesting with like, I mean, when you have a physical copy of a game, you have it, it's yours. But when it's digital and these services rely on that, they could just go away. It is weird how some consoles have that long of a lifespan, though. Like the fact that Netflix even works on the Wii 12 years later is crazy. But I
Yeah.
mean, some consoles have had that. I mean, the PS2 got new games for a really long time too. So it is crazy how some consoles die out quickly and some like never go away.
Yeah, well, the Dreamcast still has games released for it. There's a new game that's just been released on the Commodore 64, I understand.
Really? Wow,
Yeah.
I didn't hear about that.
So that I think to load that you'd basically have to download it to your PC, copy it to an SD card, then insert the SD card into a special drive, SD converter drive on the Commodore 64 that you can buy all these sort of things, or you just use your ROM version, the emulated version. But we're
Sure.
getting away from the point there. Let's go to Amazon Fire. It's very difficult, it would seem, for us to have a really useful podcast without mentioning Amazon or any of Amazon's hardware. They have released the Recast, a cloud-based DVR for cord cutters. Uh, so it's basically a system for recording over-the-air TV. I've just been using a thing called I forgot the name of the device. A moment. The Home Run Connect Duo, which is basically it's a aerial-based terrestrial TV system.
Uh-huh.
It's a little black box, about so big, and you connect it to your aerial and you connect it to your network, and it will stream the content from the aerial across your network, either through a dedicated web app on the system or through Plex.
Okay.
Really, really cool little box, which you can't record with it on its own. You'd have to connect a hard drive or just use your PC and Plex and use that. But which isn't a million miles away from this idea here. There's two models. One has two tuners, 500 gigabytes of storage, and sells for $229.99, and the other has four tuners and 1 terabyte of data storage and sells for $279.99. And they're Alexa enabled. Yeah, do you see the thing with Amazon's recent releases? I don't see the point in this. It seems far too expensive for what it does.
Yeah, I mean it's over the air, so it would have to be stuff that you're getting already.
Mm.
And I think that for that price, I mean, I'm not sure. I'm not 100% sure of the cost, but I know that I mean here a lot of cable providers, like DirecTV and Comcast and Verizon. I mean, most of them include or have a DVR service for
Yeah,
however much extra a month. So I mean, $230. I mean, 500 gigabytes of storage is pretty big, I guess, compared to what you'd get from a cable provider. But seems like a big extra cost when you can just pay them a few more dollars to record, or pay for like a network like CBS All Access or Hulu
yeah.
or whatever and just watch from there. So I'm curious who the audience is.
Yeah, we had that same conversation. I think it was last week's really useful podcast with Gavin Phillips, and there's a new Amazon device coming along again that doesn't appear to make any real sense. The Fire Stick and the Fire TV, they're good devices. The Dot and the other Amazon Echoes seem to be good, interesting devices. But these two new ones, I think it was the video phone one last time, and now this Fire TV Recast. They seem like sci-fi versions. Which isn't the best term, but like really kind of extreme versions of what's already available from Amazon. And I'm not convinced people are going to drop everything to buy these. Although I dare say we're all going to be finding out a lot about these items if we go anywhere near Amazon over the next few days.
Oh yeah, they'll be all over the place. They have a way of advertising. Yeah, like did you hear about the new devices? Yeah, I do think that. I think that there have been I think that some products in this, in this case Amazon products are really handy. Like you could say, if you have an Echo Dot, you can hear the weather, you can play your music, all that stuff just with your voice. So that's a
Yeah,
pretty big benefit. But I think with this, or like the Echo microwave or the Alexa microwave, like it's such a small benefit over what we're used to that it's not worth that extra cost. Like, yeah, it might be cool to be able to say like record whatever show or tune to this, but like, is it really that huge of a deal?
Yeah, I think there's a very specialist target audience for this, isn't there? It's the kind of it's the cord cutter who doesn't want to spend any more money but wants a DVR.
Right. So I
As
guess if
it,
you really, if you, there's a lot of like network shows that you watch, or you just want to be able to record like 12 hours worth of TV and scan through it, like just to have a ton of storage to scan through. But I don't think I would use something like that.
no, I'm not sold on that. I remember the first box I got with a video built into it. It was with a hard drive built into it. I beg your pardon. It was a DVD player. It had a hard drive in it, and the quality was not very good at all. It was very because it was recording through an over-the-air system. So it'd come through the aerial into the back, record, but it was like, I mean, it was a long time ago, so it probably was 720p at the most. I imagine it was probably 480 pixels. But it was also, it had a stutter. So the
Oh no.
playback on this, it would stutter. And it wasn't a pronounced stutter. It wasn't, it wasn't a pronounced jerk, but, if you watched it for, after 10 minutes or so, you start getting a headache from it. It was really, really disappointing. So it'll be better than that, at least. Uh,
Yeah. That's not a fun way to watch. Like I've
no.
watched stuff where it's like there's like a slight delay, and it's like the longer you like the audio gets unsynced from the video, like the longer you watch it, like that it's like the smallest thing, but it gets
Yeah.
really annoying to watch after a bit.
Yeah, it is. It is. I remember there was here in the UK where we have satellite TV from Sky. There was something put in place on the movie channels to stop you recording the movies. And what it was imperceptible as you watched it live, but it would be picked up by a video cassette, a VHS cassette, as you recorded it. Uh, so essentially, it would flash and it'd really give you a headache.
Wow.
So there'd be a swap in tone. I think it was probably. I'm not even going to attempt to explain what I think it was because I don't know what it was, how they did it. But it would start. You could basically you couldn't watch what you recorded off the
Yeah,
Sky
because it was like a
Movies channel. Yeah,
flashing light. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Okay, let's move on. The Xbox One gets keyboard and mouse support. Do you know what I love about the Xbox One? And that is how it can almost replace every other device that you would have connected to your TV.
Yeah, yeah, I know that's how they kind of pushed it at first, so
Yeah,
it's good to hear that it's kind of making good on that promise.
yeah, it is, and it's getting keyboard and mouse support, which I'm not 100% convinced by, because
Convinced that it's a good thing, or
yeah, why do we need a keyboard and mouse?
I think that so when I was looking at this, I was thinking about how the Xbox One and PC games, obviously Microsoft's in charge of both, so they have a lot of good cross-play support. I wrote an article about cross-play games recently, and PS4 is not a very good spot for cross-play right now. Sony's been kind of a stick in the mud about it, but that's another conversation. So a lot of Xbox One games you can play with people who are on PC, so it makes sense. But I feel like it's going to lead to unfair advantages in shooters because I mean a game like Fortnite, for example, that's so popular. Like if you're using a keyboard and mouse, I don't like keyboard and mouse controls myself, but I mean they're basically better for shooters. I mean you have
Hmm.
more precision with a mouse obviously than you do with a
Yeah,
control stick. So someone that's using that is going to have an advantage over someone that's not. So the thing I always liked about consoles is you know that people are pretty much all on the same ground. Everyone's using a
yeah,
PS4
level
controller
playing field. Yeah,
versus someone has a ultra wide monitor and all this stuff. So it will be interesting. I think it would get. I mean, we'll see. I don't know how many people are going to be dedicated. Like, I'm going to get a keyboard and mouse for my Xbox because you think people that are diehard keyboard and mouse people are going to be on PC anyway.
exactly. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I can't. I mean, yeah, I imagine it's probably for that sort of thing. I can't imagine anyone sitting down and playing a strategy game, a Civilization, on an Xbox. Well, then again, it's coming out on the Nintendo Switch, isn't it? So maybe I'm not. Maybe I'm way off the mark there. So that's the latest tech news, which may interest you. We're going to move on with some tips now, and if you have any kind of productive bone in your body, you may well be aware of Microsoft Office. It's been around a long time. I remember using, God Almighty, this was a long time ago. Yeah, when I was at college, I was using Microsoft Word to do my A-level assignments. They didn't go too well, unfortunately. I'll be honest.
It wasn't Ward's fault though.
It wasn't Word's fault at all, no. And then, yeah, and I did a I started a Microsoft Office User Specialist course in 1999.
Wow. Did you
Yeah.
finish it?
No, I didn't. But I did the important bits, which were Word and Excel. I couldn't get to grips with Access in those days. So yeah, Office has been around a long time. So long, in fact, that it rarely bothers to mention how old it is and just calls itself like Microsoft Office or Microsoft Office 365. And one of the things about it is that it has a perception of being pricey, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's even with a subscription, it's still not cheap. I mean, it's affordable, but it's not, it's another monthly cost.
Yeah.
That everything wants these days.
Yeah. You'd be looking at, if you were to get Microsoft Office as a package as opposed to individuals applications, you'd be looking at Word, Excel, PowerPoint, OneNote, the Outlook app, OneDrive Access, and yeah, and there's variations on these. There's other things that you can get as part of it. You can pay a bit more to get extra things like Visio, and the thing is, everyone thinks that it's expensive to use Microsoft Office, but in actual fact, you can use it for free quite easily, can't you?
You can. You have a couple options. We talked on a past episode about the best alternatives, so you do have those. But if you don't want to use those, I would say that the best option for most people is to use Office Online. There's a free browser-based version, which is kind of similar to Google Docs if you've used that. It includes basic versions of the main Office apps you're familiar with, like Word and Excel. It has OneNote, PowerPoint. You can use your Outlook Mail and a couple other apps as well. They are watered down, so they're not going to have every single feature you need. So, using Office in a business or a school setting is probably not going to work for you if you use Office Online. But for the most people, if you just need to type a paper or create a basic spreadsheet, they'll do whatever you need, and there's no downloading anything.
Yeah, the mobile apps are good as well.
Right.
They're
If
good
you like to
options.
work on a tablet or
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But also, as you mentioned, work or college. There are options for you there if you have an employer and who may have the ability to give you a copy of Office, because there are programs that employers can sign up to organizations to give their staff versions of Office software that they can use at home. And schools and colleges also have a similar system whereby they can either give you a free copy or get a discounted copy for you. So that's also an option. Do you know what? I'd be fascinated to know the number of man hours that go into using Word and Excel every day. It's got to be astronomical, hasn't it?
You mean how many hours people across the world spend working in it? Yeah, that would be very crazy to see.
Yeah.
Because I mean, it's like the standard for a lot of people. They're working in offices all over the place. So I'd be very interested to know. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow, what a thought. Okay, let's move on. And yeah, it is the middle of November, which means that Black Friday is coming along, and you have a holiday weekend in the United States. Is that right?
That's right. Yep. Thursday's Thanksgiving.
That's right. I don't know why I'm telling you. That's right. I'm the Englishman who knows naffle about Thanksgiving.
That's okay. You were just asking. Yeah.
So yeah, I'm telling you that you're right. And I was, it's not really my place to say.
Ding 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 ding.
So, Black Friday, Cyber Monday. How did this? For those of us who aren't American, how did this Black Friday and Cyber Monday thing come about?
I'm not actually 100% sure, to be honest, like how it like completely started. I know that Cyber Monday, like retailer, this Cyber Monday is more recent, probably like since the 2000s or so. I think that retailers noticed that people tended to shop online. more on Monday, so it just became like an extra day. Yeah, I'm not like the whole details of Black Friday. I'm not familiar enough with to
Okay.
explain right here, but yeah, I know. I mean, it's kind of I think there's that whole distinction between Black Friday and Cyber Monday, but I mean a lot of Black Friday stuff is online too.
Yeah.
People always get this idea that you got to run into a store at the middle of the night or whatever. But so I've been writing some posts up, and I've already seen some deals that are live right now. So if you're not a big in-store shopper person, you may be able to get some good discounts even without it. But the thing that drives me crazy, this is kind of off topic, but the thing that's been crazy is they've been pulling back the time it starts earlier and earlier. So Black Friday is the day after Thanksgiving, obviously. It used to be that the deals started like in the morning. So it would be like, doors open at 6 a.m. on Friday, and then it was midnight, and they keep pushing it back. Now they'll open at like 6 o'clock on Thanksgiving night. And it's Thanksgiving. People want to be with their families and
Yeah.
enjoying everything. So it's crazy because most places will be open for a few hours on Thursday and then they'll close and then they'll reopen early in the morning. So I'm not a big like shopper, so I'll maybe get some stuff online, but I'm not a big like browser.
Okay. The reason I ask is because of the last sort of 3 or 4 years here in the UK, businesses have been emulating the Black Friday, Cyber Monday thing, and online and offline. Because we don't celebrate Thanksgiving.
Right.
It's for many people. It's like, what, why, what are we doing? Why are we going to get a turkey now as well? What's going on? But so these tips are great for everyone, really. They're great for if you're in the United States. They're great wherever you are, Europe. If you're shopping online this weekend, I really do think it's like a big cultural thing that's been pushed as a sale, and
Yeah.
I'm not going to go into whether or not these are real sale items that haven't been bumped up in price 50 weeks beforehand.
Right.
But there are genuine scams out there that you need to be aware of. We've got a great article here, and everything we've spoken about in this really useful podcast you will find in the show notes. You can click the links and find out what's going on in more detail. So there's the bait and switch scam, which is basically you get an expensive item shown to you. You're interested in it. You go go click the link, go find it, and find out that you might need to fill in a survey or give some other information. Yeah. Or even get there and find out actually that item's gone now. But while you're here, why not have a look at this? It's a scam. It's been used offline for years, and it works well online. There are the fake gift card scams. Stay clear of those.
Classic.
Yeah, that's basically. Do you know someone who's been done by the fake gift card scam, or am I thinking of someone else?
Yeah. That's like the call, and then you have to scratch off the gift card, and
yeah,
that whole thing. Yep. Yeah, that's. I can't believe. I think that's hopefully like starting to go away now, because I've seen in stores here like Amazon. I don't know about other ones, but Amazon for sure. The cards say like do not use this for anything other than purchases on Amazon.com. Other uses are fraudulent or something. So it's a shame that it's become that widespread. And I've actually seen signs at stores that say like you can't buy more than X dollars of gift cards at once. I guess to try to prevent that. Yeah.
Okay. Another scam to look out for is fake Facebook pages. So there's this thing where pages can get fake likes, or they can gain enough traction to skew Facebook's algorithm, which determines what you see and what you don't see. And it's known as like farming. And scammers will promise free computers or gift cards or other discounts, and then gets enough likes, and then it sort of plays a version of the bait and switch and offers something a bit rubbish, or takes information of the people that have liked the page, profits there. You're getting nothing out of that at all, apart from giving away your information to someone else. Delivery and transaction problems are also an issue. I mean, this is something that's gone back to the very beginnings of online shopping.
Sure.
And you've got to be careful who you're dealing with online, which is why you should stick to the big online stores and Amazon I'm less keen to recommend eBay, to be honest with you, because I've had some bad experiences with eBay.
eBay really depends on who you're shopping with, because it's
Yeah,
the same. It can be the same thing on Amazon. If you buy, I mean, buying from Amazon directly is fine, but if you're buying from a
yeah,
third party, on eBay, you could be buying from a reputable seller. It's buy it now, you're good, or you could be buying from who knows who,
sure.
and then it's a big problem. Yeah.
There's been a lot of takes on this recently, different ways of playing with your head. You might have bought something, you might not come, so someone runs off with the money. You might get pretend emails from FedEx, DHL, UPS, those kind of people asking you to open an attachment and end up with ransomware on your computer. So it just pays to be aware of what the risks are.
I think
Um,
like you said, it all kind of harkens back to like the beginning of online shopping. I think that the most important thing to remember is during this time when it's the start of the Christmas shopping season and all that, it's easy to get caught up in, oh, this is on sale, oh, this is such a good
yeah,
deal, all that stuff, because normally you're not so like, I have to buy this now, like this is urgent, so you're more likely to go slow and
yeah,
notice things that would be fishy or off. So I think that's just, yeah, keep a clear head. Remember, not everything is as it seems. And at this time of the year, scams are going to be on the rise because there's more people shopping and they're paying less close attention.
yeah. Absolutely, I'd agree with that. And I'd also there's a couple of other things I would say. I would say make sure you know what the returns policy is. Because first of all, if there's a returns policy, you know that who you're dealing with are halfway competent and reliable. Um, and it's just useful to know it.
Right.
But the other thing I would mention is kind of not too far from what you just said. If it seems like it's too good to be true, it probably is. It's
Right.
been said billions of times and it remains true, however many times you say it. So yeah, Black Friday's coming. If you're shopping online, you've got a few days left to do it. You've got Black Friday and the weekend to shop online and grab these bargains. Be careful with your online shopping. Don't go throwing all your cash at something that looks like a great offer. And stick with reputable sellers. I beg your pardon.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah. Okay. Listen. Memes. What is a meme?
A meme is, well, so the meme, this is taken from my recent article where I wrote about memes, which is a lot of fun, actually. I love explaining, like, it could be so hard to like phrase, so I'll try to make it simple here too. So a meme is online is just basically a simple piece of media that's usually funny that spreads through the internet in some way. So usually when someone says a meme, they mean an internet meme now, but memes actually weren't started with the internet. The word meme was first used by Richard Dawkins, an author you probably have heard of. He wrote it in a book in 1976 that he wrote called The Selfish Gene. He used memes to describe some kind of idea or behavior that spreads across people in a culture. So as opposed to something that's genetically passed on from parents to children, a meme is just some sort of trait or cultural identity or something that's spread among a culture. So internet memes are any sort of media on that originates somewhere online. It usually originates on a message board like 4chan or something, and then it starts to spread out and become more widespread on mainstream social media like Twitter and Facebook. It's just anything that does that. So there are hundreds of examples of memes. In the article I went through 5 historic ones that are kind of like old school memes, and then I went through 5 big ones from the last couple of years. That were big. So memes are so a typical kind of meme is called an image macro, which I think a lot of people confuse. That's just a picture with text on it. It can be the same picture with different types of text. It can be some sort of like a similar theme picture, like cats with text on it. That's a common type, but a meme can be anything. It can be a phrase that gets repeated and mutated. It can be a video that people edit, a picture that people comment on. It's just anything like that. And they spread so quickly, and then they're gone the next week a lot of the time. So it's hard to keep track of them.
Do you have a favorite?
It's hard to say off the top of my head, and I mean, there's so many. There's a lot of game memes I like. I really have enjoyed the distracted boyfriend meme from last year. That's one of my modern favorites. I don't know why that's always cracked me up. There's something about the looks on all their faces and just the endless options for it have always
Yeah.
cracked me up.
Have
So
you
that's one
seen
of
the
my
other images in that set?
yeah, the one where yeah, like I find that whole thing hilarious. Like, and I've
Yeah.
noticed at the site, like and at other sites, when I see like stock images that people use, like that couple, especially that girl, is in like so many images.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
there's one where he's proposing to her, and she's like looking at another guy, or like there's like I remember after that happened, people found other stock images from that same
Yeah.
set, and it was like a story.
Yeah,
Like it
yeah.
was like all
Yeah.
these different ones. Yeah, it was great. That's one of my favorite ones. But I mean, there's so many. I like a lot of.
I'm a big fan of Willy Wonka.
Yeah, the condescending Wonka one.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
a
I do like
classic.
that. Yeah, yeah.
I do like some of the classic ones. They call those advice animals that just have like the animal or the person, and it's like a theme, like condescending Wonka or like socially awkward penguin. Those ones
Yeah.
are kind of old school. They're kind of stale now, but yeah, it's just funny to almost see like the evolution of a meme. How like you see something on Twitter once and it's like, what is that? And then you start seeing it all over the place and you realize that it's really picked up popularity. It's fun to read through. A great site if you're interested in memes is called Know Your Meme. It's a site that's been around for quite a while. It's kind of like an encyclopedia for internet memes. So it has all kinds of info on where memes started, how they changed, when they were most popular, and then it has examples of them so you can kind of see how it's used. That's a really cool site to just learn about internet culture.
One of the things that fascinates me most about it is how the meme has evolved as a meme. The meaning of the meme has evolved
Right.
as memes evolve, which is that's a little bit
Meta.
yeah, it just totally yeah. So that is what a meme is. Maybe we'll do another explainer like this, where someone like Ben tells me, a slightly older tech writer, what something is in a future really useful podcast, and then I can be like the surrogate listener, because I enjoyed that. That was good. Um,
I hope it was clear. I think it's kind of like it's not really
definitely, yeah,
complex, but it can be hard to understand if you're not
yeah,
in the culture, I guess. So
totally,
yeah.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. So hey, that's brought us to the end of this week's really useful podcast. Which has been a bit of a roller coaster, not in the bad way, in the kind of there's the top, there's the bottom, we're going straight down kind of a way from beginning to end. So in which we've talked about Netcliffe. Netcliffe? What the hell's Netcliffe?
Cliff.
Netcliffe.
Cliff.
He's a cyber detective, Netcliffe. Yeah, he's yeah, he likes pizza and he's a cat. Um, and he streams TV while he's working. Netflix no longer works on the Nintendo Wii. Amazon have released the Fire TV recast cloud-based DVR box for cord cutters with claws.
The word Nixon show today.
Totally. And the Xbox One is getting a keyboard and mouse. And the tips we've looked at is how to use Microsoft Office without paying. Why not? It costs like £300 a year. You might as well do it for free. Cyber Monday and Black Friday scams to watch out for. Just serious face there. And memes explained. I'm Christian Cawley. That there is Ben Stegner. We
That's
are
me.
here to help you with your tech problems, to unravel tech, to give you the stuff that you might have seen in the news and don't care about, to show you which bits are interesting for you and to discard the rest. We're the Really Useful Podcast, and we'll be back next time. Until then, it's goodbye.
Take care, everybody.